What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at a couple different things, starting off with the technicals of Bitcoin, then the fundamentals of Bitcoin, but then we're going to slide into some news that we got earlier today that's absolutely massive. No one recognizes it quite yet. No one's speaking about how big this is, but I want to tell you why it's important and what it could mean for the future. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's catch up on crypto. Now, guys, don't forget, if you do want to trade some Bitcoin yourself on up to 100x leverage or other cryptos, even 50x, 25x, and 100x leverage, you can use that Margex link down in the description below. The coolest part about it is, guys, when you do sign up, you don't even need to KYC, meaning you don't need to hand over any of your personal information. You don't even need to use a VPN. You can just sign up, start trading. You're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses and rewards with my affiliate link down in the description below. So again, feel free to go check that out if you do want to do some trading yourself. Now, looking at Bitcoin, okay, let's start off with this catch up. Looking at Bitcoin, what is going on, how we feeling, how we doing? Well, what I will say is that Bitcoin just absolutely did something that's so massive in the long term, in the macro, that it almost doesn't even matter what the next couple days, next couple weeks looks like. We'll talk about it all, but it doesn't really matter. Now, what just happened was that Bitcoin just opened up the door of opportunity for a move to basically just about as high as it wants to go. Of course, what we've been speaking about over the previous weeks was that Bitcoin was in this descending channel. And I said, look, it's in this descending channel, and I think eventually it will break this descending channel. But what you have to understand is that even when it does break this channel, you need to watch very closely what happens here. What happens at this resistance zone and this resistance zone and this resistance zone. Because they're going to act as major rejectors. They're going to act as major points of liquidity in which the bears are going to step in and try to force that price downwards. And until Bitcoin can finally clear these key points of resistance, finally clear these key liquidity zones, it's not going to be able to make any big moves. It's not going to be able to open up that door to push to 90K. It just will not happen. And so what we need to watch out for is Bitcoin to be able to clear these zones and open up this door of opportunity to the upside, so that even after that point, even if Bitcoin's price does trend back down to $67,000, it doesn't matter, because the door to the upside is open and it's just a matter of time until we break it. And that's exactly what happened. As you can see here, Bitcoin got this first initial breakout to the upside, but it did get immediately rejected. It was unable to maintain. We got failed off here. We got hit with that rejection. The bearish liquidity stepped in, forcing the price back to the downside, forcing another retest of that previous point of resistance into some support. But gratefully, what we saw was that, of course, that support held. We used it, broke to the upside, cleared that resistance zone, and now we have now officially opened up the door for Bitcoin to push just about as high as it would like to go. And so, although, of course, what I'm about to tell you about the short term and the midterm might not sound the best, in the grand scheme of things, in the long term, things are looking fantastic. The door is now wide open, and the future is all ours, baby. You put all these catalysts in that we've been speaking about on this channel, all this intrinsic value we've been speaking on this channel, man, oh man, is the long term looking good. I do think we're pushing up here at some given point. It just seems like a matter of time to me. So, with that in mind, from a technical perspective in the macros, things are looking fantastic. From the shorter term time frames, what I will say is that things are looking a little bit more risky. Okay, they're looking a little bit more risky. Now, the reason that I say that is because with Bitcoin now officially pulling back today, it does confirm that we are seeing bearish divergence on your daily RSI. And what that looks like is Bitcoin's price putting in equivalent highs, if not micro lower highs. Okay, so a little bit of a high, then a lower high there, at the same time that its price is consistently putting in macro higher highs. When you're seeing something like this, what it typically means is that your macro momentum is waning, meaning that even though you're going upwards, you're losing strength. Imagine throwing a rock in the air. For a while, it'll just go straight up, but eventually you will start to see it turn over. You will see that momentum slow down before inevitably coming back. And that's what you're kind of getting that indication of when your RSI does something like this. And so when I see this, I always get a little bit hesitant, like, that's never, of course, an amazing thing to see. So maybe we can expect some type of more macro cool down sometime soon here, now that all of the hype of the elections and everything is behind us, and most of our major catalysts are in the past, in my opinion. Now, when you also mix in what we are seeing from your Bollinger Bands, let's go ahead and get these pulled up. What you can see is that Bitcoin is pushed into the top side of its Bollinger Bands to the point in which it's outside of them. Anytime Bitcoin gets outside of its daily Bollinger Bands, it doesn't last very long there. We can look at the last couple times. I mean, let's get that off the screen. There we go. You can look right here. You can look, let's see the last time we actually went outside of them, right here, and even back here, right? And although in a situation like this, and we talked about this yesterday, right? Although in a situation like this, we pushed outside of them, we did continue upwards, we had to re-enter, we had to go back in, we had to consolidate and get away from being this far outside of them, and that's what I am expecting from Bitcoin. I do think that even if it is going to continue upwards, we're going to need to see it slow down and consolidate a bit to re-enter back into this channel. And so from there, of course, with that in mind, I don't expect that over the next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to see Bitcoin pumping. I do think it needs to cool down and calm down. And the fact that its Bollinger Bands are overextended and we're seeing it pushing to the outside of this RSI, those are two double confirmations that the short term might not be as exciting or as fun as it has been over the last couple days. Now, when we flip that over to what's happening from a more fundamental perspective, we can start to see that playing out in the back end as well. Now, one of the best indicators in the world, in my opinion, if not the best indicator in the world, is the liquidation map. Where liquidations are is the most determining factor of where you're most likely to see a crypto go. And what we can see here for Bitcoin is that there are a shit ton of liquidations below us. If you do just look at 100x leverage, for example, look at, no, you know what? Let's do this. Let's turn off everything but 100x. Let's do this. Let's turn that off. Let's turn that off. Let's turn that off. Let's just turn it all off except for 100x and just look at what's happening here. You can see the sheer amount of liquidations that'll happen if Bitcoin just goes back down to, let's call it, $74,000, right? A little bitty move of just $600 back towards the downside right here smashes these liquidations. You add in your 50x leverage, now you start to see that there's a sheer amount of liquidation, the sheer amount of liquidations that happen at 73,000. You mix in that 25x leverage, now you start to notice that there's even a little bit at 71,000, even more than you're seeing here. And from a grand scheme of things, from the cumulative, you can quite simply just see that there are a substantially higher amount of liquidations that will happen if this market moves down than if it goes upwards. And that's not just on the 1 day, that's also on the 7 day, that's especially on the 30 day. And so knowing that there are just this many liquidations that will happen if this market moves downwards, it's hard for me to believe that in a moment in which we're starting to see a drop in momentum, a loss of strength, an overextension into your Bollinger Bands, and an a massive accumulation of liquidations towards the downside, it's hard for me to believe that Bitcoin's not going to try to push towards some of those liquidations down there. Maybe we come back down towards this little trend that's being established, something like that, and liquidate these people around 70K. I don't know, and I'm not even 100% positive it is going to pull back, but I understand that it's a possibility, and it's a very strong possibility. Now, one thing we can also go ahead and check on is, well, what are people doing as a result of this? What we can see is that you go out to your 24-hour, although this market is pulling back a little bit, people are still doubling down on their long trades. They're closing their short trades and entering in on long trades, meaning that they're ignoring these warning signs. They're ignoring what's happening here, and oftentimes, again, that does lead to pullbacks. You go out to your RSI, for example, to your shorter time frames, your 4-hour. Every major crypto, for the most part, is either above its neutral zone or pushed into an overextended zone to the top side. That stands true for the 4-hour, and it pretty much stands true for the 12-hour as well. And so, as I mentioned before, the short term itself is looking a little bit more risky in my opinion, and so I'm definitely not doing any major trading or buying or anything right now because this does get a little bit more risky. Now, eventually there will be a point in time in which we do see crypto ignore the liquidations to the downside, but it's not given us that truth yet. It's not shown that that is what's going to happen here, and so because of that, I can't ignore the fact that we are getting warning sign after warning sign after warning sign that we may see this thing cool down or pull back at least a little bit over the coming short term. Now, that's where I'm at from a technical perspective. The long term is looking absolutely fantastic. The short term is looking a little bit more bleak. The midterm is looking okay from a grand scheme of things. And so because of that, although I'm not doing a ton of buying right now, I'm definitely not selling. I'm not taking profit yet. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm just letting those purchases that we made recently play out before doing anything else. Now, focusing and transitioning on into our news, man, oh man, is it good. Now, let me get a little sip of water here because, boy, I'm getting a little parched. So, what is going on with the news? So we just got some news that over 250 pro-crypto candidates have been elected to Congress in this election, Fox Business reports. Let's just break down what this means, okay? What you have to understand is that if my memory serves me well, I believe across the House and of course across the Senate, there are 535 voting members, okay? Now, what we have to think about is there are now 250 pro-crypto candidates that have been elected into Congress, which is an accumulation of the House and the Senate. So this means that nearly 50% of the voting members that are now in Congress are pro-crypto. Now, everyone's attention has been focused on Donald Trump, of course, as it should be. We, of course, have been talking about Donald Trump and the people who are around him, coming from J.D. Vance, who has hundreds of thousands of dollars in crypto himself. Elon Musk, one of the most important factors in crypto. Peter Thiel, Howard Lutnick. We've been talking about all of RFK. I can't leave RFK out, not the homie. right? We've been talking about all of these people with Trump and in the uppers, right? The upper room. I don't know how to explain it, but the people at the top, right? We've been talking about them a ton and just how pro Bitcoin they are. But if you understand American politics, you come to realize that you can have the best president who's the most pro crypto and the person who's going to be in there making all of these promises. But quite frankly, if they don't have the backing of the House, if they don't have the backing of the Senate, oftentimes nothing really gets done. You know, oftentimes what we will see, and this kind of is removed from bipartisanship because some of the people who have been elected into the House and into the Senate are Democrats as well who also support crypto. But the point that I'm trying to make is that oftentimes if you have a president who is, say, Republican, and then you have a House and a Senate who's Democratic, usually you're not going to see much happen because they're just not going to pass anything. Trump can try to do what he's going to do, and of course he can pass executive orders and make some decisions to go around them, but quite frankly, major things will not happen because there will be a bit of a stalemate between the House, the Senate, and the president. And what we are seeing right now is an opportunity in which we don't see that stalemate. We see all these things that Trump is going to say he's going to do and wants to do and all this stuff, but without the support of the House and the Senate, he's not really going to be able to make as much of it happen. But in a situation like this, in which we do see over 250 pro-crypto candidates elected to Congress, it opens up the door of opportunity for this to actually come to fruition. And for Trump to not only be able to accomplish the things that he said he was going to for crypto, but to do it fast. And that is what we need. We need speed. And because of that, this is absolutely fantastic news. Now, as a result of this, we're already starting to see some things forming in the background that start to kind of imply that this is a possibility. What we got was that Coinbase CEO says Trump's win will drive pro-crypto regulation and economic freedom, which of course is bullish. Now, going forward, Coinbase exec calls for SEC reform after Trump's election, urging focus on crypto innovation over litigation. And so what we're seeing is that some of these major companies, as a result of seeing Trump in office and seeing what's happening in Congress, they understand that there are now so many opportunities for there to be a better crypto environment in the US, and they're calling for it, and they're calling for full-blown reform. This is Coinbase, one of, if not the biggest company in crypto. And so because of that, I mean, it's just absolutely massive, and people don't understand that when you have that jointness, right? When you have the ability for the decisions to be made and for them to be made fast, it opens up doors in which we can see this crypto world changing day by day by day. Regulation and litigation and all of these things coming out that are in the benefit of crypto to bring innovation back to the United States, to bring crypto innovation back to the United States, pull it from some of those other places that people went to when they left here after the attacks that we saw day after day after day in 2022 and 2023, bring it all back here and actually kickstart a true crypto golden age here in the United States. This opens up the door of opportunity for it, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now, 250 isn't a majority, but and I'll do some digging to see if I can find some exact details and numbers, but it's a damn good start. And I love the fact that we got this news, and I love the fact that no one notices it because it tells us, hey, this intrinsic value is building and building and building and bubbling and bubbling, and people don't even recognize it yet. And so I wanted to share it with you, of course. If you guys do enjoy this style of content where I'm giving you my thoughts and my opinions, catching you up on crypto and talking to you about things that no one else is talking about, you can always let me know by subscribing to the channel. Guys, this channel is only 3 months old. We're pushing up to 1,600 subscribers. I would love to hit 1,750 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you could help out in that journey, that'd be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Check out those links down below. I do have a Patreon group where I do some posts and stuff every now and then. It's kind of talking about my thoughts and opinions on these different things that I see. We have daily technical analysis and daily fundamental analysis available down there for you. And you also can check out that Margex link down below if you do want to trade some crypto yourself. But overall, of course, I hope you guys did enjoy catching up with me today on crypto, and I can't wait to see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.